Hey IELTS learners, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm your IELTS teacher and the host of the IELTS Time podcast, and this is lesson 2 of our Vocab Booster series. Today we'll be looking at vocabulary that's perfect for talking about food and restaurants, a common topic in both part 1 and part 2 of the test. Whether you're describing your favourite dish, chatting about dining out, or answering a cue card about a memorable meal, these vocabulary gems will help you sound fluent and confident. Let's dive in. Let's start with something simple, but powerful. The word foodie. A foodie isn't just someone who likes food, it's someone who loves it, trying new dishes, exploring new restaurants. They get excited about flavours, ingredients, and the whole experience. Here's how you might use it. I'm a big foodie, so I'm always up for trying new places and different cuisines. My brother's a huge foodie. He spends most weekends watching cooking shows and experimenting in the kitchen. See how that sounds? Using a word like foodie adds personality. It shows enthusiasm, and it makes your answer more memorable. It's a lot more vivid than just saying, I like food. And the best part, you can use it to talk about yourself or someone else. Perfect for both part 1 and part 2, especially when describing food preferences or family habits. Let's talk about a super useful phrase. Catch up with someone. To catch up means to reconnect, to talk, to share what's been going on in your life. When you haven't seen someone in a while and you want to hear all their news, you catch up. Here are some natural ways to use it. Eating out is a great way to catch up with friends or family. I usually catch up with my friends over brunch on the weekend. We hadn't seen each other in ages, so we went out to catch up at our favourite diner. This phrase is perfect for part 1, especially if you're asked something like, who do you usually eat with? You can say you love catching up with friends or family over a meal, and it works great in part 2 too, when you're describing a recent outing or social event. Using catch up makes your answer sound more natural and conversational. Here's a great way to talk about your decision-making process. Go through my head. When something goes through your head, it means you're thinking about it, considering it, imagining it, or reacting to it. For example, when you're deciding where to eat, you probably think about a lot of things. A natural way to say that is, a bunch of things go through my head. Here are a few more examples. When the food arrived and looked so good, only one thought went through my head. I need to take a photo. The smell of the soup instantly made memories go through my head. It reminded me of my grandmother. The phrase go through my head helps you describe your inner thoughts or reactions in a vivid, natural way. It works really well in part 2 when you're telling a story or describing a moment, especially if you want to show how you felt or what you remembered. It adds depth to your answer and makes your storytelling more engaging. To crave something is to really, really want it, especially when it comes to food. Here are some natural examples. If I'm craving Italian, I'm not going to go to a sushi place, right? I always crave something spicy when I'm stressed. After a long day, I was craving a big bowl of ramen. The word crave is a great way to express strong desire, and it sounds much more vivid than just saying, I want. It's especially useful in part 1 when you're asked about food habits or preferences, and it can also add emotional depth to a part 2 story, like describing a meal you really looked forward to. Let's talk about money. When we say something breaks the bank, it means it's way too expensive. So if something doesn't break the bank, it's affordable. I love a fancy meal now and then, but most of the time I'm looking for something that won't break the bank. The place looked fancy, but the set lunch didn't break the bank. I love fine dining, but I can't do it too often. It really breaks the bank. The phrase break the bank is a natural, informal way to talk about cost, especially when discussing restaurants, shopping or travel. It's great for part 3 when you're giving your opinion about spending habits, or even in part 2 if you're describing a special meal that was a bit of a splurge. It helps your answer sound more fluent and idiomatic. To sway someone means to influence their decision. You're not forcing them, just gently pushing them toward a choice. Here's how you could use it. If I've heard good things about a place, that can definitely sway me. I wasn't going to order dessert, but the waiter's recommendation swayed me. I was leaning toward Italian, but my friend swayed me to try Thai instead. Sway is great for showing subtle influence. It's more natural than saying change someone's mind. It works well in both part 2 and part 3 when you're talking about choices, recommendations, or peer influence. It adds a touch of nuance to your storytelling, especially when describing how you ended up doing something different than planned. The vibe of a place is its atmosphere or feeling, casual, cozy, loud, romantic. And when it comes to restaurants or cafes, this really matters. For example, the vibe in that coffee shop is so chill. Soft lighting, jazz music, comfy chairs. I love it. I love the vibe of that little cafe, quiet music and cozy lighting. The restaurant had a fun vibe, everyone seemed relaxed and happy. Vibe is a great word to describe the mood or atmosphere of a place, especially when you're talking about cafes or restaurants in part 2. It's much more expressive than just saying nice or comfortable, and it helps you paint a vivid picture for the examiner. Using words like this can make your description feel more personal and authentic. To stumble upon something means to find it by accident, usually in a pleasant, unexpected way. For example, I was in Chiang Mai and I stumbled upon this tiny street food stall tucked away in an alley. We stumbled upon a tiny ramen shop and decided to give it a try. Best decision ever. I wasn't even hungry, but I stumbled upon this bakery that smelled amazing. Stumble upon is a great phrase for storytelling in part 2, especially when you're describing a surprising or memorable experience. It sounds much more natural than saying, I found, and it adds a sense of spontaneity and excitement to your answer. Perfect for talking about travel, food discoveries, or hidden gems you didn't expect to find. If something is packed with something else, it means it's full of it, especially ingredients or features. Let's look at some natural examples. The noodles were perfectly cooked, and the bowl was packed with fresh vegetables and chicken. The dish was packed with flavour. Every bite was amazing. The night market was packed with people and food stalls. Be packed with is a vivid and flexible phrase that works really well in both part 2 and part 3. It helps you describe not just food, but places, events, or even emotions, in a way that sounds fluent and expressive. Instead of just saying there were a lot, this phrase adds colour and precision to your speaking. And here's the final phrase to finish strong. Stuck with me. If something stuck with you, it means it made a strong impression or stayed in your memory. Here's how you could use it. It's been years since that meal, but the taste and atmosphere have stuck with me. That meal really stuck with me. Not just the taste, but the feeling of being with friends. What she said over dinner stuck with me. It changed the way I think. Stuck with me is perfect when you want to describe something meaningful or unforgettable, especially in part 2, where you're sharing a personal story. It adds emotional depth and makes your answer feel more reflective and mature. Great for talking about meals, conversations, or even moments that left a lasting impact. All right, let's see how much you remember. I'll give you a sentence with a blank. Try to fill it in with one of today's vocabulary words. You've got 3 seconds. Let's go. Question 1. My cousin is a huge... She travels just to try local dishes in different cities. The answer is foodie. My cousin is a huge foodie. She travels just to try local dishes in different cities. Question 2. I'm meeting my old friend for lunch this weekend. We haven't seen each other in ages, so it'll be great to... The answer is catch up. I'm meeting my old friend for lunch this weekend. We haven't seen each other in ages, so it'll be great to catch up. Question 3. Before I pick a restaurant, lots of things. My... The answer is go through my head. Before I pick a restaurant, lots of things go through my head. Question 4. After a long day, I always something spicy. The answer is crave. After a long day, I always crave something spicy. Question 5. I'm a student, so I usually look for places that won't. The answer is break the bank. I'm a student, so I usually look for places that won't break the bank. Question 6. I didn't plan to go there. I just it while exploring the old town. The answer is stumbled upon. I didn't plan to go there. I just stumbled upon it while exploring the old town. Question 7. The dish was herbs, veggies, and juicy chicken. The answer is packed with. The dish was packed with herbs, veggies, and juicy chicken. Question 8. My decision was completely by online reviews. The answer is swayed. My decision was completely swayed by online reviews. Question 9. The whole of the place was perfect. Cozy lights, chill music. The answer is vibe. The whole vibe of the place was perfect. Cozy lights, chill music. Let's wrap it up with this last one. That meal was amazing. It really, with me. The answer is stuck. That meal was amazing. It really stuck with me. All right, quiz complete. So how many did you get correct? Even if you missed a few, don't worry. These phrases take time to stick. The key is to keep practicing and start using them in your own answers. Let's wrap things up. Today you learned some powerful, natural vocabulary to talk about food, from describing cravings and memories to explaining your choices and habits. These are exactly the kinds of expressions that make your answers stand out, especially in Part 1 and Part 2 of the IELTS Speaking test. If you found this helpful, make sure to review these words again and try using them in your own practice. Thanks for learning with me, and I'll see you in the next lesson.